Chapter 2. Logan liked the new owner of the Pumpkin Spice Cafe more when she wasn't about to knock his head off with a baseball bat, but that wasn't saying a whole lot. He had work to do, deliveries to make, and well-meaning townsfolk to avoid. He really didn't have time to be sitting here having a pre-dawn drink with her, but he didn't seem to be able to escape, or get a word in. Dot's niece hadn't stopped talking since she insisted he come in. Every Thursday for the past 5 years, ever since he started managing the farm, he'd left Dot's 4 crates of produce next to the back door. He liked being in town before the sun came up and the people came out. He liked getting his business done before any other businesses were open. Logan wasn't one for small talk. He hated speculating about the weather. He didn't need to know about the latest town scandals. He liked being the latest scandal even less. The sooner he was done with deliveries, the sooner he could get back to the quiet of the farm. Or as quiet as a farm can be with half a dozen chickens, 2 senior goats, 1 rescue alpaca, and grandmother who loved chatter. Thankfully, his grandfather was just as quiet as he was. His grandmother talked enough for the both of them, almost as much as this genie did.
So, what do you think my aunt intended to do with those, little pumpkins?
She asked, glancing down at the crate he'd left by his feet. She stood behind the counter, a hand on her hip, the other swiping at the little wisps of hair that had fallen out of her messy bun.
Gourds.
Logan corrected her from his spot on the other side of the counter.
Right, gourds. I thought so.
Jeannie still looked confused.
But, you don't eat them, right?
He nearly laughed. Nearly. He was still too annoyed to laugh.
No, you don't eat gourds.
Jeannie's gaze roamed over the other 3 crates that he'd carried in instead of leaving them in their rightful place near the door. The place he always left them. The place he wished he'd left them this morning.
I'm guessing the rest of it is for the smoothies she added to the menu.
Logan nodded. This town loved their smoothies. Not that he was going to complain. Smoothies meant the cafe needed a lot of fresh fruit and veggies from his farm. Smoothies were good for business.
The gourds are just decorative,
he said, saving both of them from more guesses. Jeannie's eyes lit up like he'd solved the world's problems. He ignored how pride flared in his chest at the sight of her pleased face. It had been a while since he'd been able to solve anyone's problems.
Of course, I really should have thought of that. It's the lack of sleep.
She rested her elbows on the counter and her chin in her hands. She was wearing an old, oversized cardigan, the sleeves so long they covered her hands, over a threadbare t-shirt and pajama pants. He was pretty sure the pants had little hedgehogs all over them, but he'd tried very hard not to notice. He was trying very hard not to notice a lot of things about Jeannie, like how expressive her dark eyebrows were, and how she hadn't stopped moving, making his coffee with quick, efficient movements. She was a study in contradiction. Competent, but lost at the same time. Quick to smile, but also quick to frown, every emotion clear in her eyes. Dark brown eyes, nearly black, the same as his coffee order. Jeannie rubbed a hand on her face, breaking the spell. How long had he been staring at her? She yawned and stretched her hands above her head. Her tishine lifted with her arms, and Logan averted his gaze from the exposed slice of skin above her waistband. He was definitely not going to notice that. When he dared to look at her again, she was back to leaning on her elbows on the counter. Dark circles hung beneath her eyes, her black hair a messy nest on the top of her head. Her slumped, defeated posture tugged at something inside him. Something inconvenient. Something he did not have time for right now. He opened his mouth to tell her he had to get going on his deliveries, but she was already talking again.
It's just so weird. I keep hearing these sounds every night. Do you think maybe this place is haunted?
Logan nearly choked on his coffee.
Haunted.
Yeah, she straightened, her eyes brightening with her new theory. Haunted. Like maybe the spirits who live here aren't happy with the new owner.
The spirits?
It was too early in the morning for this level of insanity.
Ghosts, spirits, whatever.
Jeannie waved her hand like the semantics of the haunting didn't matter.
Something is upset that I'm here.
I really don't think.
There's no other logical explanation. She crossed her arms over her chest. Case closed.
This place is definitely haunted.
No other explanation?
Logan thunked his mug on the counter. This was too much.
Raccoons, old pipes, drafty windows, your own imagination.
He counted the other explanations off on his fingers. Jeannie narrowed her eyes at him on that last one, but he went on.
Could be the kids in town messing around. There are an infinite number of explanations that make more sense than ghosts. Now, I really need to go.
What do you mean, kids messing around?
Logan sighed and resisted tearing the hair from his head.
I don't know. Maybe some kids were messing around in the back alley?
Jeannie nodded slowly, taking in this new theory. Logan slid his mug across the counter, a thank you, and goodbye on the tip of his tongue. But Jeannie was faster.
So, what are we going to do about it? I really need sleep.
We?
He backed away from the counter. Maybe he could just turn and run. The last thing he needed was to get further entangled with the new cafe owner. He could practically hear the book club ladies cackling about it. They ate gossip for breakfast. Jeannie nodded.
You're my only friend here. I can't confront a gang of teenagers by myself.
Gang is a bit generous.
He mumbled, still backing towards the door. But now Jeannie was following him, definitely hedgehogs on her jammies. He refused to find it endearing. Please. I'm new here and I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. She shook her head to stop her words trailing off.
Sorry, this isn't your problem. I'll figure something out.
The smile she forced onto her face tugged at something inside him again. She looked so lost. Even as she smiled and pushed the hair from her face, attempting to assure him she was fine. She clearly wasn't. And that scrambled him up even more than her constant talking.
Damn it, come to the town meeting tonight.
Town meeting?
Yeah.
He ran a hand down his beard, already regretting his next words.
They're every other Thursday. You can bring up your, problem. Get some help.
Her smile grew into something bright and real. Oh no. Jeannie's real smile was even more endearing than the damn hedgehogs. How had his usual morning deliveries taken such a drastic turn? Thank you. That's a great idea. Jeannie clasped her hands in front of her, like she was stopping herself from reaching out for a hug. Logan didn't know if he was relieved or disappointed by that. He needed to go. He had one hand on the doorknob, nearly there. Nearly back to his normal morning, his blessed quiet.
Will you be there?
Jeannie's question stopped him before he could escape. Logan usually only went to town meetings if forced to by some farm issue, and only then. If his grandmother was too busy with her knitting circle to come into town, his grandfather would rather have teeth pulled, without anesthesia, than attend a town meeting. His words. Logan had no need to show up this week and yet for some reason found himself saying,
Yeah, I'll be there.
Jeannie's delighted squeak followed him out into the pre-dawn light. The book club was going to have a field day.